Go. And welcome back. Pleased to introduce Colin McRae Rally 2. Slightly behind schedule by quite a bit, but I'm sure we'll be fine with ZaufKauf and BPG13, aka Viper. Take it away.
Alright then. Hello everybody. I'm the BPG13, also known as Viper to my regular viewers. I do have alongside me for today ZaufKauf. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm ZaufKauf. Yeah, might be a bit difficult to pronounce, but you're here today to do a Colin McRae rally race.
And yeah, well, to put it bluntly, between the two of us, we're doing the challenge mode, or used to be called challenge percent, now it's just called challenge. To kind of put it bluntly, there's 4 rounds in 5 countries, and the cars are completely random every single time. Sometimes you might be looking at the same car twice, or unlucky if it's one of the worst cars. But yeah, fair to say that this race is going to be random from start to finish with what cars we have. We're doing the same race, everything's pure driving, so there's none of that cutting corners or anything like that. There is a trick that we're going to be using in Sweden, but if we get right into it, so I'll get ready to go. Which I am. Are you ready to go, Zoff?
Wait, no, I'm ready.
Okie dokie. Right, also just quickly mention before I start, I do have a bad case of hay fever today, so I do apologise for the handkerchief. As I apologise for that in advance. So, but yeah, if I sound a bit bunged up, that's why. Anyway, kind of moving over that, if we're ready to go on time and you're ready, Zoff, then who wants to do countdown? Shall I do it, or do you want to do it?
Yeah, you can do it.
Alrighty then, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, to kind of just quickly explain the challenge mode again. So, challenge mode is essentially head-to-head between yourself and one other opponent. Now, normally, when you do this solo, you'll be doing it against the AI. Now, you can obviously pick between easy, medium, and hard AI. We obviously pick easy because, well, it's the easiest, but you can pick medium or hard if you wish to do so. However, the whole idea of challenge mode is to win the tournament, so to speak. So, in the challenge mode, you have, like, it's a head-to-head, and the car that's picked is usually one of 6. So you have the Subaru Impreza, the Toyota Corolla, the Mitsubishi Lancer, the Ford Focus, the Seat Cordoba, which is usually the fastest car, and the Peugeot 206. Now, the cars that me and Zoff are going to be driving are going to be different every time, although we might end up having the same car on the same round. If that's the case, it's pure luck. I wish I was kidding, but this category, really, in my opinion, I think this is probably about right, and see what Zoff thinks as well, is this is like the randomizer for Colin McRae Rally 2, because we wouldn't have a randomizer in the game normally, but in this one in particular we do. It's just that it's like I say, it's randomised and everything. You do the same stages and everything like that, but for the most part it's all completely random.
Yeah, and one thing Viper didn't mention yet is we use automatic gears instead of manual gears, because in the PC version of challenge mode there's a bug which makes it eat input. So if we would use manual gears, it might just eat your input and you just don't switch gears, and that makes it very difficult. So for this one, at least I know I am myself and Viper use them manual of automatic gears.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like it's just to quickly mention as well is that for those that I think a lot of people have said, I think everyone on the face of the earth has probably seen me run Colin McRae Rally 2 at some marathon or another, because it has been quite a few. But basically, when we do super special stages, which, like I said, head-to-head like this, normally what happens is we will turn around and get ourselves disqualified, but that's in the super special stage in the championship, when getting disqualified doesn't really matter. However, in this one, this is actually where you're driving, like I said, you have to drive the course. In my opinion, putting it legit. That's kind of how it is. It's doing it legit. But yeah, not too bad so far. The thing is as well is that if you get disqualified, then unfortunately that's you out of the tournament. There is something which I haven't mentioned yet, and that is that. So in this was only found out recently, but basically someone by the name of Fairrod, and I think Zauf, you might be familiar with him as well.
Yeah.
He told about a weird glitch. We don't know how it works, but it was something that Fairrod tried when he was younger or something, or when he had his brother. I can't remember the main backstory, but basically if the AI hits you in such a way, it's able to disqualify you from the race, but it's able to make you still win. How that works, like normally it's the fastest time to the flag, but in that case it's actually disqualification. Like they disqualify you and you still win. Like I said, how that works I've no idea, but it's very strange.
I think it has to do something with which car hits the other car in the mind of the game. Like who gets a 3-minute penalty.
Possibly, I don't know. There is actually an out of bounds that you can do on Japan. It's also worth mentioning as well, is that Japan, so the country that we're in right now, that we're racing in, this is actually, so to put it bluntly, this is actually the only time that Japan is ever seen in this game. So, I mean, it would have been cool if there was an actual Japanese rally in this game, but unfortunately the only time that you ever see the Japanese rally is in this mode. And like I said, for life I mean no idea why. So in like the championship you'll obviously go through Finland, you'll go through Greece, France, Sweden, Australia, Kenya, Italy and the UK. And Japan is just like that one-off event where it's like, yeah, well, we've just saved it for a special... a special game mode, which I think is quite cool, to be honest. But like I said, every car that we're going to be getting is completely random. There may be a mistake here and there as well for one of us. But
my first time, so
there you go. But it's basically going to be quite close from start to finish. So I mean, if one of us flips over and then the other flips over later down the line, it might cost us some time. But this is actually one of those categories that, believe it or not, getting a good run is quite difficult to do because the cars are always randomised, so you want to try and get the fastest cars and obviously drive your nuts off as fast as possible. So I've literally just finished Japan. So what happens now is that when you finish a country, so like how I finished Japan now, you then need to quit back to the main menu, go back into the challenge mode, select Greece, and then carry on going. So that's literally how we do it. So it's not only just about driving your best cars, it's also depending on menuing as well, which is also quite a fun little thing to do as well. So you add in a bit of menuing.
And in the menuing in this mode, it also eats your input, so you can't just memorize the menuing. That's
yeah, because like
very well known for their menuing.
It's weird as well because the amount of times, especially during practice, like the last 2 weeks, that I've got to the end of, say, I don't know, Japan or Greece or wherever, and then instead of going back to main menu, it's not eaten one of my inputs, and then it's gone, right, you've clicked restart challenge, so it restarts you back. And because of that, it actually means that you lose a little bit of time, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Like I said, so there might be like an accidental like menu, hitting the wrong menu option or something here, but yeah, the whole point of this one, normally in like the championship you play through, like I said, the whole championship and things like that. But in this one, it's more or less you're doing the same race 3 times, and then you move from there. So how a challenge mode works is I believe it's 16 drivers when you start, so it's 8 rounds altogether. But you do 4 rounds, so you've got first round is it's like the Euros at the moment, the football. So you've got like the round of 16, then you've got 8 get knocked out, so then you're down to the quarter-final, then 4 more knocked out, then you're down to the semi-final, and then whoever's left out of those 2 is the final. Obviously for our sake, we've actually got to beat everybody in the tournament. Now like I said, you can play it through on the easiest difficulty, and believe it or not, this is something that's recently come to light as well, which is that normally for this game I'd say try the Novice Championship because of the fact that it's got the most runners, or if you wanted to go for an even quicker category, you could do the arcade mode and do just the Class B on Novice, which is our current fastest category in the game, and funnily enough,
and recommend it to anyone.
as well as that, Zauf is actually the record holder for that category as well. So the more you know. But it is a very close category, and it is literally every second counts. Like in most racing games anyway, every second counts. Like your load times are obviously added in if it's RTA purposes, but if you're doing in-game time, it is literally about how fast you can drive in-game. And yeah, so Class B in the arcade is definitely a recommended category for novices, for those that have never played it before and may be interested in learning it. But recently, this category that we're doing right now, in my opinion, would actually be quite a good category to learn as a novice player, because the thing is that even on the easy difficulty, I think that learning these stages would help massively. And the other thing is as well is that because of the fact that you're doing the same stage like 3 times, it means that you're not learning new things. Like for example, in the championship, you're having to learn, I don't know, 25, 30 stages, maybe even more. But in arcade, you're only having to learn like 3 circuits, or 6 circuits, or whichever category you're doing, of course. Or, in the case of challenge mode, you're learning the same stage, you're doing the same stage 3 times over, so obviously learning it is going to be easy, because that means it's like, right, you've got one shot, you need to beat the AI, go for it, why not? And it's like I said, in my opinion, nice easy category for a novice player, especially a beginner. I would highly recommend it. And that's just something that's, like I said, recently came to my mind, so you never know. But you got anything you want to mention, Zauf, or?
I just want to mention I've been starting on the left side in Greece, and then the right side, while starting on the left side is slightly faster, because you don't have to brake for that first corner on the right side. But yeah, that's just one of the randomness.
Exactly, that's another thing as well. We're actually going to get into that in a second as well. Well, I'll say that, I might as well could probably talk about it. So, one of the super special stages, the countries that we deal with, is Sweden. Now, normally when we deal with Sweden, like I said, in the championship mode, we don't bother doing the stage. We all, like I said, we disqualify ourselves. I'm trying to think what the word is now. On purpose. I can't think of the word. You know what I mean. We do it on purpose. Yeah, so we do that on purpose in the championship mode, but obviously in this one we can't afford to do it on purpose because we're obviously racing for the fastest time. And like I said, the cars are random every time, so you'll have, like, for example, I might be in a Mitsubishi, he might be in the Subaru, I don't know. I mean, we don't even know what other cars the others got at the moment, so I know that I'm in the Evo, but I don't know what Zauf's in, but you never know. Oh, unlucky. This is the other thing as well, is that because, like I said, it's basically car roulette. Every race is car roulette. You do not know what you're gonna get. And for those wondering, oh, but can't you just like manipulate the game so it gives you the fastest car every time? No, it is literally a case of there's probably some calculation in the game that's like, right, okay, you're gonna have that car, but you're not gonna have this one. And then you might do the next one. It's like, yeah, you can do the next one. It really just depends. Speaking of the country I was after, so Sweden, just got to it. But Sweden's a bit of an interesting one because I think this is the longest, maybe?
It's the slowest at least.
But one of the things that we end up doing in this is we end up doing a lot of wall riding. So this was actually something that was found out by Lucky, who he did a run of this category quite a while ago. I think it was about a year and a bit ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point. And as it stands right now, his record is currently the fastest one. Although due to, I forget why, but basically something happened with his time at the moment. Nothing to do with it being illegal, but basically he actually holds the fastest time, which I think was a 32:43 or something. My PB is about, I think it's a 32, according to my split, it's a 32:47. So that's not far off, I'm only 4 seconds away, but making them 4 seconds up is not exactly easy in a category like this, because in most categories, like I said, most categories you're often doing the same thing. You're often trying to get like the edge. You know, there's out of bounds that you can do and stuff like that. In the challenge mode, there's no out of bounds, so it literally comes down to driving purposes. And like I said, for Sweden, it's just wall riding, and yeah, it's unbelievable how much this actually saves you time. It's kind of whack, really, how much time it actually does save. Very, very odd, but it works.
The thing is also, even if we would find out of bounds in the challenge mode, it registers differently from the car location from the normal mode. If you skip a part, it just doesn't know where you are, and it reverts you back to the last place it's seen you. Whereas in the normal rallies in the championship, when it sees a next point on the rally and you put your car there, it just thinks, oh, you already passed through all the other points, so it should be good. Whereas here in the challenge mode, it won't let you continue. So it's a bit stupid, but
that's like I say, that's all video games for you though. I mean, the thing is that this game is now getting on. Just to put it in perspective, this game is now, or will be this year at some point, 21 years old, and that's putting in perspective. I mean, I know I've mentioned this on a run that I've done of this game before, but for a 21-year-old game, it still looks quite good. I mean, granted, it's not. Well, okay, maybe not in your settings, but I think on mine it doesn't look too bad. I mean, I've got it ramped up to 1080. Just thanks to a guy called Silent. A lot of people may be familiar with a guy called Silent. He does silent patches for a lot of games. He's done a few, most notably from CMR2. He's done Bully, Grand Theft Auto, I think, was another one. And yeah, he's gone through quite a few games and done his own patches. Scarface. He recently patched, I think, not that long ago, a couple of months back, to make that game more playable, so that's good. But as a whole, yeah, like I said, quite a very enjoyable game. For me personally, as a racer, it is. Maybe not so much if you're not a car nut, but it is what it is. What else we've been talking though? Has BT got anything they would like to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to remind everyone of partially why we're here. We are here to raise money for Crisis, a charity that is dedicated to ending homelessness across the country through a variety of means. We've raised a wonderful amount for them so far, sailed past all of our records for previous marathons, currently sitting at over $3,600 raised. So thank you very much to everyone for all of that. We do currently still have a couple of upcoming incentives. Firstly, the naming incentive for the Morrowind run we have in a couple of hours to either suggest or vote for one of the existing names. So if you're planning to donate, take a look at that. We also have an incentive for the bonus run after the closing ceremony, where Kazo is planning to do a Half-Life Duck % run, which is currently the goal to be met for that is $500, and I think last I looked that was only sitting at $110, so if you'd like to see that, please get your donations in as soon as you can. Thank you very much.
No problem, thank you very much. Also, you said we'd smashed our previous goal, right? How much money are we sat on right now, currently? Like, what's the current donation total?
We are currently sitting on $3,655.33. Apparently, our previous record was this spring, which was $3,180 exactly. So we've sailed past that quite comfortably. We seem to be our viewers have been very, very generous this time around. Let's say.
Yeah, very generous. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate that. Pretty sure I think 4K is definitely on the horizon. There's no doubt about that. Still got a few more hours yet, so hopefully they can smash $4,000. I think it is in dollars, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in dollars. 4K. If we want to meet our duck % incentive, then we'll need to hit 4K. since that's still sitting at about 400 to go, I think.
Very nice. Very nice.
Get your bids in there to reach that one.
Indeed, very much indeed. So it's just kind of worth mentioning about some of the vehicles in this game. Now, I probably have mentioned this, so do apologise if I sound like I'm repeating myself here. But in this particular Colin McRae game, unlike the previous Colin McRae games, and I think the ones that came after it, the cars in this game are actually from different years. So the Subaru, for example, was from 1997. The Toyota was from 1998. So was the 1999. The Peugeot 206, the Seat Cordoba. A lot of the cars were all from like 1998, 1999. But however, I know I've definitely mentioned this before. The Subaru has an interesting little trick up its sleeve. In a way, I say it has a trick up its sleeve. It doesn't, but basically there's two versions of Colin McRae Rally 2. There's a version 1.0 and a 1.1. How you know you've got the different versions? On PC it's difficult to tell, but on the PlayStation it's quite easy. So the Platinum version of Colin McRae Rally 2 is version 1.1, and version 1.1 had the Subaru Impreza. I forget the Japanese driver. I think it was Takashima Arai or something. I probably miles out with that name. Something Arai, I think ARAI. And they had like a spike-themed Subaru. However, if you've got that particular Subaru, so that particular livery and everything, that's actually a 2000 Subaru Impreza. Whereas if you had the 1.0 version, that is the 1997 version and has the 555, well, doesn't have 555 written on it, but the thing is with liveries for motorsports, F1 is very notable in this regard as well. So back in like the late 90s, I think it even happened in like the 80s as well, is that when certain teams went to countries, when teams went to certain countries, they weren't allowed to run certain sponsors due to a banning on cigarettes over in that country, or banning of alcohol or any sort of alcohol. So for example, when Williams used to take their Martini livery Williams to Abu Dhabi a couple of years back, they could only run with the white and blue stripe instead of the white, blue and the red stripe. And I think they had to remove all the Martini livery stuff because of the fact that drinking alcohol in that country isn't allowed. It's illegal. Same in Bahrain as well, because they have sparkling rosewater on the podium instead of champagne. So, but I digress. So rallying used to do a similar sort of thing. So in rallying, they used to have, instead of 555, they'd have like the crests maybe of Subaru or something like that, like these yellow crest things on the side of the car. So they weren't actually the 555 livery. They didn't have 555 written on the side of it, which by the way is a cigarette company for those that aren't aware. It was very famous with the Subaru of Colin McRae, especially in the mid to late 90s. Yeah, they used to do it a lot. And the thing is, like I said, in this game, when you have the version 1.0, so the black case, I think it is, the original PlayStation black case, that would have the, like I said, the 555 livery with the yellow crests. But yeah, there you go, the more you know. Apart from that, most of the cars never changed livery, as far as I know. It was just the Subaru that was most notable. There is one most notable thing to do with this game as well. And again, I do apologise if I'm wrong, which is that you can unlock the 1999 Focus WRC, the Ford Focus WRC. So I'm currently driving the 2000 Ford Focus WRC, but you can unlock the 99 version, and apparently that is not actually an unlockable car. The weird thing is, so it can be unlocked, but it can't be unlocked in the way you think it can. So most cars in this game, apart from the original 6, can be unlocked via completing the Novice, the Intermediate, Expert Championship, the Novice, Intermediate and Expert classes in arcade mode, I believe, anyway. So that's how you unlock the cars. However, if you want to unlock the Ford Focus 999, you can't unlock it via doing it legit. The only way you can unlock said car is actually via using a cheat code, which is, if you use the unlock all cars cheat, obviously you'll have all the cars, but you'll also unlock the 1999 Focus. So there you go, the more you know. Car that can only be unlocked via cheat codes, and it's not the first game in the series that did it. In the original Colin McRae Rally, in the 1998 release, not the modern remake, we'll get to that in a second, but the 1998 version actually had two cheat codes for the PC version. Was not available in the PS1 version, but was available in the PC version. And the two cars that you could unlock were the Toyota Celica GT4 from 1994, I think, or 95, and something called the Millennium 4 Rally, which was a made-up vehicle, I believe. It looked like something that was, something an alien would drive. I don't know. It looked like something from like the year 2070. You know, when cars have that futuristic look, that sort of thing. So there was that. But that was the main thing. And just kind of keeping on top bit with the games as well. I did briefly mention then the 2013 Colin McRae Rally game, which is known as CMR Mobile. If you go into the Colin McRae Discord and everything, it's just known as might be known as Colin McRae Mobile. Actually, I'm not sure on speedrun.com. But anyway, I digress. But that is basically all the assets of that game were ripped from this one. So if you were one of the unlucky few that got your hands, I say unlucky because the game was not that good, but if you're one of the unlucky few to get your hands on Colin McRae Rally for iOS or Android back in 2013, what you were basically getting was not a new Colin McRae game, was not a remake of the original in HD. It was in my opinion, a crap remake of the second game, but was labelled as a remake of the first one. It just made no sense. Like, all of the cars were ripped from, I think it was from, full enough, from this one. And
everything was ripped from this, yes.
The Lancia as well.
I never played it, I never found how to play it, but...
It's weird because it's the Lancia that's in it is the same one that's from this game, I believe, but the livery was changed. I guess it for copyright reasons, I don't know. Possibly. But it was even available on PC as well. I think they released it on PC about 2 years later. Yeah, probably best. The less said the better, really, for that one. Also, I'm just finishing up Kenya, by the way.
Miles ahead.
Whereabouts are you up to?
I think in like 20 seconds I'm finishing Kenya.
Ooh, okay, so you're not far behind me then. It's going into UK. Now, what was you going to say? I do apologise, I cut you off there.
I know for the mobile version they introduced the reset ability for the car, and I think no one, or it hasn't been tested much, I believe. But I think since we know this game so well, there will be probably a lot of cool things to do with that restart respawn function.
Yeah, I think I don't think I've tested much of it. I know I've done a few like minor runs of the game, but I don't think there's many cuts that can be done. So the thing is as well, and it's a good point that you mention it, is that because of the fact it being the same game as this, pretty much, there's a lot of cuts that we could choose. But again, like I said, I haven't tried myself. But I think you could be right on that one, Zauf. There could be a lot of interesting, let's say, time saves for them rallies. Which were found in this one as well. Like, the thing is as well, and when I say, like, it's a crap version of this game, I well and truly mean it. It is literally a case of, like, imagine, like, you know how you see those bootleg games that are like, oh yeah, we're ripping off, like, big series, you know, Crash Bandicoot and that sort of thing. Usually they're seen as like a clone, but where they've actually got the name plastered on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I believe CD-ROMatron has run it before, but it's like a Chinese bootleg of Crash Bandicoot or something. I think a lot of people may be familiar with it. Yeah, it's kind of similar. No, it's nothing to do with, like, you know, it's not a Chinese reboot or anything like that, but it feels like one of those games, like, the co-masters... The weird thing is that the guys that created the remake, the iOS port, the mobile version, were the same developers. It was Codemasters that developed it. But how they made it, like, a lot worse and a lot more awful, I have no idea. It is just ridiculous. But, yeah, there you go. It's just one of those things, I guess. And, like I said, we'll never find out why Codemasters ever started to do it, but no surprise, it absolutely flopped in, like, the Android store and the Apple store, and on Steam had a lot of negative reviews for it. And I think if they, like, did a 4K version of this, or, you know, like a proper version, should we say, then I think this would definitely be sold better. But even then, the game's 21 years old, so it has. I mean, the games have a following, so.
Yeah, but I think if you want to sell it as a new game, it has to be added a lot more features. At least a capable online experience.
That's true, which wouldn't be easy, let's be honest. And not only that, they would actually have to be. What's the other one? They'd have to have. So you have to have like multiplayer experience. Oh yeah, they'd have to allow like modding and skins. That'd be another. And what else would they have to do? Oh yeah, well, allow more cars, and obviously the graphics would have to be improved somewhat.
Yes.
So, also I just lost like, I think a couple of seconds on that last one, so I think you're catching me up again now. Because my UK was, I was like, oh, it's going alright.
Decent.
This looks like it's going to be close.
My PB was terrible, because I already saved like, like 7 seconds on my PB.
That's mad. So this looks like it's going to be a good time. There we go. So the thing is as well is that I have actually tried, and this is something I didn't mention before, but one of the things that I have tried to do is try to cut the chicane for the end of this super special stage, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, could not get the car to do it, and it's also got what do you call it, a barrier or something. Also, that sounded hard.
And there's one. Yeah, there's a thunderstorm again. It's beautiful weather here in the south of the Netherlands.
Oh, pardon me. I do apologise for that. Excuse me. Oh dear. I'm gonna say that's thunderstorm made me do that. Excuse me.
Yeah, there's one hairpin which you can cut in this level. I lost some time there. But if you go through it, the game just doesn't know what you're doing and just keeps telling you going the wrong way.
Also, I should just mention as well that I don't know about Zauf, I think he's probably right behind me, but we're both on the last round, so time's actually going to be when we cross the line. So you might have to get ready pretty quick with the time, because I think it's going to be close. Like a few seconds of each other. Also,
I'm just going to start the last one, so I think I'm a bit behind.
Possibly. I don't know how far I am behind my PB, I don't even know.
Just to clarify, is time when the first of you hits the line or the second one?
So time will be when I hit, I think, well, at the moment I'm ahead, so I'll say when I hit the line.
Whenever the first person hits, okay.
Yeah. And then I think Zauf won't be far behind after that as well.
Definitely below estimate.
Too right. I think we set 40 minutes and we're going to be done in for 5 minutes. 5 minutes under at least.
I mean, we started about half an hour late, so I'm not going to complain.
Can't complain then in that case. Also, what was the final card that you got for your super special stage, Zauf?
My final car is a Subaru, so
Oh,
I'm
very
happy
nice.
with that.
I got the 206. Time for me. Whew.
That's a good. That's a decent time.
Zauf will not be far behind, I presume.
No, well, it's. I spun in the last round, so.
You'll be fine. It won't be nothing too bad. Nothing too bad.
And that is time for me.
Yeah. Very nice.
Very
At
well
least-
done, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
It was going to be quite. We knew it was going to be quite close. I mean, albeit not like extremely close, but I think that's the closest race we've had so far. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, because
But
we've had races. We've had races in championship which were minutes apart, so
yeah,
and this feels close.
that I gotta say, yeah, that kind of puts in perspective. Usually when we have a Colin McRae race, like with a community, it's usually like a minute or a couple of minutes apart. But the fact that we've had one, it's like within 30 seconds is pretty good. I think that kind of just wraps up the run here from myself and Zauf. But just to quickly mention as well, this is quite an easy category to get into if you do wish to get into running this game yourself. Like I said, there is an arcade Class B novice, which is about 8.5 to 9 minutes, although a beginner will probably get a little under 10. Rough around there anyway. And like I said, it's a good way of learning some of the courses, circuit racing. This is just single stage racing, but you do it a few times over, so you kind of improve as you go. And like I say, it's a bit like it's a randomizer. This is like the game's version of randomizer without having one built for the game, if that makes sense. But on our side, yeah, I think that's pretty much us done. But I just want to say again, thank you UKSG for having us do this run, and thank you Zauf for doing this race with me. It's been quite fun. Enjoyed that.
Yes, was a good race. Thank you very much.
Thank you to both of you for having your run. Thank you to everyone who has been watching and who has donated. This is the end of my time as host, so thank you very much for putting up with me. I will now be handing you... We'll go to an intermission right now, and then I will be handing you over to the lovely Mayu, who will take you through our Metal Gear block. So, thank you once again, and we will see you soon.